Again, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulillah. Thank you all for joining. I hope and pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect you and protect your family, that you're all safe during this really tumultuous time in our country, in the world. So this is really unprecedented time that we're going through. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to relieve us soon from this affliction and to protect you and your family. I hope you're all doing well. And that you are taking care of yourselves, taking care of your family, making sure don't go out so much. And if you do go out, make sure you wear the mask and all that jazz. So this is, part of all of the things that we do, inshallah. And the wonderful thing is that the hadith of Prophet Muhammad SAW says that whoever does that, abide by that, uh, and goes through the whole thing and passes, they will have the reward of a martyr. So it's a great thing to have. So may Allah, take away this affliction and give us more patience as we go. My name is Muhammad Nasser. I am the president of the Muslim Family Foundation, as well as a board member in the Mass Chamber of Muslims Chamber of Commerce. And today I'm going to be your MC. The Chamber of Commerce actually had put up this webinar today because we realized that there's a lot of Muslim families and Muslim businesses that are going through a rough time during this period, just like everybody else. And we thought it would be a good idea for us to actually bring some expertise and subject expert matter folks that to discuss what the government had prepared as far as assistance programs during this time, especially the Small Business Association, the SBA. So alhamdulillah, we have been able to actually bring together three, maybe two, maybe three, depending on the time, how things kind of go. So I'm going to actually share with you my screen. Hopefully you guys are seeing my screen. Please let me know if you guys are seeing it. So the agenda will be as follows. We will have first Brother Hani Amra, who is the founding lawyer of the Cornerstone Law Services. He will talk to us about all the assistance programs. And then second, we'll have Brother Farhan Durrani, who is the VP of Business Development at Wallis State Bank, will also talk to us. And then if Brother Fawad Ismail joins, who is the regional president of the LA branch, if he joins, he'll be able to also share with us some of the thoughts and some of the things that can help us tremendously and help small businesses during this rough time. And then we'll take it for question and answer. As I mentioned, if you want to have any question and answer, there's a button. Make sure press on that button and put in your question, and we will be going through that afterwards, after we're all done, and we'll answer them one by one, inshallah. So before I hand it off to Brother Hani, I wanted to remind everybody of the Orange County Muslim Chamber of Commerce kind of organization. Some of you have already attended some of the functions that we had. We had 2 or 3 functions so far. They've been fantastic. And the chamber has done a fantastic job, alhamdulillah. But I'm sure some people are also new and they're asking, why do we have the chamber and what purpose does it serve? And the main reason why we are having this, we started this, this started back in, October or so time frame of last year, is to really strengthen the Muslim economy. We know that there's a lot of strength in numbers. We know that in order for us to actually come together as one unit, just like Allah ordered us to be one unit, the economy and the money transfer between the Muslim businesses is very, very important. I live in Diamond Bar, and I've seen it happen in many, many communities, like the Chinese community here in Diamond Bar. They're very tightly woven. They're able to actually create a lot of value for each other. So we thought that this is actually a very good way to make it happen, and the Chamber of Commerce is definitely the vehicle to do that. So recycling the money within the community, driving more revenue into the community as well. Job creation. There's a lot of discussions happens between the different businesses. Recycling some of the experiences across the businesses so that we learn from each other. And we create a financial platform so that all the Muslim businesses in Orange County are able to communicate, are able to learn, are able to actually add to their own value, and then encourage entrepreneurship, because we are actually opening up to young men and women who want to start their own businesses. We provide a lot of information. The last meeting that we had a seminar about how to do digital marketing, which was I thought it was fantastic. Usually people pay for these things, and the chamber actually provides this for free for its members, which means there's membership, and I'll be talking about membership very very soon. Um, you know, the value that the chamber really brings in terms of the networking that we have at our functions, the campaigning that we can do across many multiple cities, the Muslim directory, which is a web or an app and a website that you can go in and see what you need. There's a job portal that we're working on as well as many professional development. Like I said, we had digital marketing as one of the things that we did, and promoting mentorship amongst our youth, because they are the ones that inshallah will take over after some time. So as I mentioned, we do have many functions, and but also we have dues. So if you decide to join, and I encourage each and every one of you to actually join, you go on the website, and you're able to join for $189 annual membership, which is not a whole lot of money really. Inshallah, this will be something that will you will think about as we go through this. So without any further ado, this is really what I wanted to kind of share with you before I hand it off to Brother Hani Amr, who is the founding lawyer of the Cornerstone Law Services. Brother Hani will introduce himself, and then he will walk us through some of the programs and assistant programs that we have. So, Brother Hani, please go ahead.
Jazakallah khair, Brother Nasser. I really appreciate it. I really want to thank Brother Tariq and Brother Nasser for coordinating this webinar and for having me. And it's an honor to be here with organizations like the Muslim Chamber of Commerce and Wallis State Bank and individuals like Brother Tariq and Brother Nasser and Farhan. I really believe that the best service professionals are those with the heart of a teacher. So who really want to come out and educate people and help them. And the three of you, mashallah, certainly exhibit that. So thank you for having me and including me with you all. As Brother Nasser said, my name is Hani Amra, and I'm the founding lawyer of Cornerstone Law Services, a group of family and business protection lawyers. We have estate planning, business and asset protection, and CPA tax lawyers that focus on helping families and business owners protect what matters most. So with that being said, I think what will be really helpful for all the attendees is that after I'm done with my presentation, after Brother Farhan is done with his presentation, that you ask a lot of questions so that we are all collectively can help one another in answering these questions, just so we are all on the same page. This information has evolved very quickly, and it's changing on daily basis. But mashallah, Brother Farhan from Wallis State Bank been doing an amazing job. And mashallah, he just notified me that he had already a few approved loans, and I'm sure he's going to talk about that. Brother Nasser, if you don't mind, we can move on to the slide, to slide 2. I really appreciate it. So here's the agenda of what we're going to do today. I'm going to give you an overview of the CARES Act, but more specifically, I'm only going to focus on the information on there that is crucial to the small business owners. And then we are going to look at the difference between the two main programs right now, which is the Paycheck Protection Program and the Economic Injury Disaster Loan. Also, I think the big question on everybody's mind is where or how to apply for the loans. I know some of you have already attempted to do this and getting maybe some pushback from the banks. So we'll talk about that. I spent a lot of time over the past few days, past week, researching that, talking to my resources, so I have some good information to share with you, inshallah. We can move to slide 3, Brother Nasser, Jazakallah khair. So the CARES Act, what's in it basically for small business owners? So CARES Act actually stands for the Coronavirus Aid Relief and Economic Security Act. And basically it's that $2 trillion stimulus package. In that there is $349 billion that was allocated to help small businesses. Now, the government defines small businesses as a company that have less than 500 employees. My presentation today is focusing on very small businesses, focusing on businesses that may have just few employees or don't have any employees at all. For example, if you're a sole proprietorship. So inshallah, I'm going to begin right now. In this CARES Act, essentially there are 3 ways to get money right now to your business. The first one is the Economic Injury Disaster Loans, which is the EIDL. This one actually have been in effect since January 31st, and it's through the SBA website, but only few people know about it. Basically, the SBA stands for Small Business Administration, and it's a federal government agency. They were taxed to help small businesses. They've been around for a long time, and I'm sure a lot of you have heard of them. The reason this program specifically was not known to you because the SBA was only sending announcements to people that are already within the SBA network. So if you're not part of the SBA network, then most likely you did not know about it until just recently. But it's been around since end of January. I will go into more specifics of what it's all about on the next slide, inshallah. But another way to get money right now is through the grant, which is called the Emergency Injury Grant. People call it with different names, but it's basically up to $10,000 of grant. So it's money you don't have to pay back that your business can possibly qualify for. In order to get this grant, you have to go through the EIDL applications. So these 2 programs kind of go together. You can't really get the grant without going through the EIDL. And then the last piece of it is the Paycheck Protection Program, the PPP, which is one that have been talked about a whole lot this week. So we're going to dive in and compare between both the EIDL and PPP program, inshallah. We can go to slide 4, Jazakallah khair. So we have the Paycheck Protection Program, and we have the Economic Injury Disaster Loans. What are the differences? It's really about how you use the funds. So you can use the Paycheck Protection Program to pay for payroll, employee salaries, business mortgage, business rent, business utilities. We should also mention here that with payroll, and I have a lot of my clients who have asked me, well, you know, I don't have any payroll. I'm a sole proprietor. In this case, the money that you really earn from, or the money that you earn from your business is your payroll. This is what they will look at to consider your loan. And Brother Farhan is going to go over it, inshallah, shortly. But if you're a sole proprietor, you will be able to apply for this program this coming Friday, inshallah. And again, in order to apply for this, you have to go through an SBA approved lender. And that's why we also have Farhan from Wallis State Bank, who has been doing an amazing work. I mean, he's been helping his clients, he's been helping the community applying for these loans, and they will go over their requirements and how to apply, inshallah, shortly. I remember when I talked to Brother Farhan, I called you, I believe I called you at 10 at night on April 2nd, and I can tell from your voice that you're still working hard. So Jazakallah khair for all the help that you and Wallis State Bank is doing for the community and for the clients. So I'm going to dive into the next question, is how this is compared to the economic injury disaster loans. So how is it compared to the EIDL? The EIDL is a little bit broader. So you can use this loan for payroll. You can use it to pay debt that you have. You can pay account payables, expenses that cannot be paid because of the disaster that just happened. The EIDL is much broader because you can get a higher amount, but it's also an actual loan. It's not forgivable. So I'm going to discuss it a little bit, go into in terms of the amounts. In the EIDL, you can borrow up to $2 million versus the PPP, which is 2.5 times your business average monthly payroll. And the purpose for this is because the government is looking at a very short time frame, and they're saying that this 2.5 times of the average monthly payroll should be able to cover you for 8 weeks of business expenses. So that's all they're looking at, the short term only. They're basically saying that this is going to go away, within 2 months at the most, and so that's why you are only getting just the 2.5 times of your average payroll. Which I disagree with that, since most likely this is not going away anytime soon, and who knows? But inshallah, I'm hoping that they extend it. But it's too soon to know. And as of right now, it's 2.5 times your monthly average payroll. So how do you calculate your monthly average payroll? Again, there's a formula that Brother Farhan will go over, and inshallah, he could probably also share with the attendees the PPP spreadsheet that you actually shared with me. Also, I'm sure your payroll company, your accountant, your CPA should be able to easily provide you with your monthly average payroll. For our clients, this is something really easy that that we're doing payroll for. We can provide you with that information for anybody who's attending. That's really simple. So in regards to the rates of each loan, for the PPP, it is 1%. Fixed annual percentage rate with a deferred payments for 6 months, and it's forgiven if you use the funds within the initial 8 weeks to cover payroll and other approved business expenses. And you're able to provide documents as proof. As for the EIDL, the rate is 3.75%, and for nonprofits, it's 2.75%. As far as the terms, the Paycheck Protection Program, you don't have to make any payments for the first 6 months, and the terms are for 2 years versus the EIDL, in which you can have the loan up to 30 years, because the loan amount could be so much bigger since, as I mentioned before, it's up to $2 million. Forgiveness, this is a big one, right? For the PPP, the whole loan amount can essentially be waived, be granted to you for gift if you used it appropriately. So it's important to be tracking this when you get the loans. Make sure when you get that loan, make sure that it is being recorded correctly in your books. It should be a correct liability. And then as you have these expenses, payroll, mortgage interests, rent, business utilities, I would be very vigilant about tracking that information in the next 8 weeks, so that you can submit later and get the loan forgiven. So essentially, this is free money to you if you can properly track it. And again, our clients who are watching us, we're doing this for you too. So inshallah, you don't have to worry about it. For the EIDL, there is also a 10,000 forgivable component. So in order to be considered for that grant, for the 10,000, you have to apply for the EIDL. So if you've already applied for the EIDL, then they give you an option actually to also apply for the 10,000 grant. If you didn't apply for that, then you need to go in and apply for the grant as soon as possible. And here's the problem with the 10,000 grant. That's why you really have to go and try to apply as soon as possible, inshallah. So there was $10 billion of funding for this in the stimulus package. And I'm talking about the 10,000 forgivable component. Why is this a problem? Really just do simple math. $10 billion of funding. Let's just say that each grant is $10,000. If that's the case, you divide a $10 billion by $10,000. That's 1 million applicants. That really, that sounds like a lot of applicants, but how many small business owners are there in the United States? There is about 30 million small businesses, and there's 10 to 15 million sole proprietors. So 45 million total businesses, 45 million slots for 1 million applicants. So so as you know, the money will go super fast given its first come, first served basis. However, the rest of the EIDL loan is not forgivable. It's really an actual loan that you borrow through the SBA. So if you can, if you want to reject that loan, you can do so, but at least you should take advantage of the 10K forgivable component. And a lot of like a lot of you know, especially if you have ever thought about starting your business and you had considered applying for an SBA loan, or maybe some of you even tried and you probably had the same experience that it's almost impossible to get an SBA loan. I mean, the paperwork is insane and there's just so much requirements, and you have to have, collateral. Usually people who are successful at getting SBA loans are those that actually are buying an existing business that have good financials, where you can show that you can pay these business loans back. So hopefully that is not the case with the EIDL, inshallah. I've heard that they have really waived a lot of requirements because the goal is the government really want to push this money out to you. But really, again, I mean, really, I'm going to be honest with you. Who cares if they reject your loan request? The whole point of this is for you to also obtain the $10,000 grant, or up to $10,000. I mean, that's really the whole point. So the application process is actually pretty straightforward as long as you have all your business information. And on the website, they say it'll take about 2 hours and 10 minutes or so. But really, if you got all your information together, it will take you much less than that. And Brother Farhan, inshallah, is going to be going into how to apply for both the PPP and EIDL, inshallah. And I'm not sure, Brother Nasser, you think we should just move on to Brother Fawad at this time? I'm sorry, Brother Farhan.
I thought there's more that you wanted to present. If you are done with the presentation, we can move forward because you do have more slides.
Yeah, I'm actually I'm done with my part now because I feel like it's more now. Let's go into how to apply for each of the loans, and inshallah, I'll add to it. But I feel like it's good now to to kind of get into it and then be able to take Q&As. I just don't want to take too much time.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it, Brother Hani. So by the way, I do see that there's about 6 different questions, and we will get to the question and answer each and every one of them, inshallah, so don't worry. Let me start my video, that's right. Okay, so we will get to all the question and answers, inshallah, for everybody, so don't worry, but we have reserved the time till the end. So now I think I'm going to hand off to Brother Farhan. If you don't mind, if you can unmute, and you can also do sharing of your presentation as well. I'm going to stop sharing so you can share your presentation. I don't know if you are still on mute, Brother Farhan. Can you hear us?
Assalamu alaikum, everybody.
There he is. Okay.
Yeah, this is Farhan Durrani, Business Development Officer for Wallis Bank. I help out Brother Fawad Ismail, who's Los Angeles Regional President, who's unfortunately not going to be on the call today. So I will help from his presentation as well, too. So just to touch base on what Brother Hani was saying about how to apply and what to look for. So I'll go over a little bit of what I'm looking for from a bank standpoint when applying for these PPP program. Another point as well too is that the EIDL loan directly with the SBA is going to be applied directly with the SBA. Brother Hani, do you want me to just touch on that first, just since it's directly with them and 2-page application and very minor information? Let me go start with them.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'll start with that one. So how to apply for the economic injury disaster loan directly with the SBA? It's simply going right onto the site, disasterloan.sba.gov/ELA. So once you get on there, and right now it has been a big overflow of applications, and the SBA is a little overwhelmed. So, but what I've been telling, a lot of the customers is to go ahead and apply at later times and not normal business hours or even in the morning. Most likely, I've been telling them to apply anywhere from 10 p.m. to at least 1 a.m. It's a little easier to get through the huge backlog and the system crashing, what a lot of customers have been experiencing throughout the day. You can also download a paper application and then also send it and mail it as well to the U.S. Small Business Administration out in Fort Worth. That one I don't recommend if you have to, but the best chance is to apply directly with them at later hours. What they're looking for, and they'll have the application there as well too. It's a quick 2-page application. And from experience right now, just from the past week and a half, if you can get through, you'll get a confirmation number. And then that'll be it after the application. But for some others as well too, not only confirmation number, but they will ask for the following documents. They'll have a statement of liabilities for the last year, monthly revenues for the last 2 years, a forecast of funds to keep the business afloat, a 4506T form for IRS verification. That form, I think you can get also on the SBA.gov website. If not, it's a quick Google search, and they'll have a new 4506T form, an updated personal financial statement, and a business financial statement for the last 2 years. So these are the only documents the SBA is looking for, and as Brother Hani said, this loan is not forgivable. So you can get a bigger loan amount and help out for whatever need right now, just during these trying times. But let me go back to the 4506T form. That's when the IRS confirms your tax verifications for your personal and business. Is it
possible to go into presentation mode? Some folks
Yeah.
want to see. Yeah, if you just push on presentation mode, it will make it larger.
In presentation mode?
Yeah, go to the right, bottom right. Bottom right, you will see like a little presentation.
Better?
Okay, then you need to click the you need to click, yeah, there's
I got it right here.
nope.
Nope, not that one.
Sorry about that.
No, it's okay.
You're no longer presenting, by the way.
I'm not? Okay.
So just go back
to
share screen. Go back to share screen. So sorry about that. You see where the share screen is?
So it is. It's doing it on both ones right now. So let me see.
Then
it's just showing both.
Then exit out of the presentation mode and just go back to normal. Sorry about that.
Okay. Let me see. Is it out?
Nope, not yet. There's a green button that says share screen. The first one, the one that you used before. There you go. I think. Yep, there you go. You got it. You're good. You're good.
Okay.
We're seeing submit your application now.
Yeah, submit the application. And we do encourage right now, even though with the backlog, to submit your application for the EIDL as soon as possible, even though they are backed up. Just a couple things to look for when submitting your application. Just recheck the filing requirements to ensure that all the needed information is submitted, because the government and the SBA will shoot it back if you're missing an initial here and there. So there's a lot of places, where they catch you for the one initial, and that's gives them a reason not to look at it. So it's important to recheck all the filing requirements and all initials and signatures and all the supporting documents that they're asking for is there. Saying if more funds are needed, applicants can submit supporting documents and request for an increase. If less funds are needed, applicants can request a reduction in the loan amount. And for the EIDL, if the loan request is denied, the applicant will be given up to 6 months in which to provide new information and submit a written request for reconsideration. So the options are there, but I still do encourage to apply for these EIDL as well too. And for most partly too, because of the $10,000 grant right off the bat. And then I'm going to go ahead and transition over to the PPP program and go over the application and everything that we would look for. So what we're looking for the Payroll Protection Program as a bank, and we've had a plethora of applications over the last week, and we have approved and processed quite a few. And as Brother Hani was saying, the ever so changing guidelines of the government, so there is going to be requests for here, just updated documentation and more signatures here and there. So, Brother Nasser, can I put up the application just to show the participants of what we're looking at?
Yes, we see it.
Yeah.
We see it. We see it.
Let me see.
Yeah, we're seeing the application right now.
Oh, you're seeing the application right now? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Now you stop sharing. Okay, it's coming up. There we go.
We're back.
We see it. Yep, we see it.
So this is the most updated application that we have created, and this is a little derivative of the SBA one, but what we've experienced from the day this program launched on Friday up until now, it has changed about 4 times. So the business legal name, address, and then right here is going to be the average monthly payroll, the calculation. And I think right here is what we've been using to calculate this. So what we've been looking for is you will come up with your own calculation of the average monthly payroll, but behind the application, we want to see how you got to that number. And in doing so, we have this spreadsheet here that gives 3 options on how to calculate it. What's best for your business, whatever applies, you're more than welcome to use one of these 3 options. So once you do calculate this, we'll ask you to attach it to the application. Over here. So this is where the average monthly payroll go. And this is the new one over here. The original application just had the average monthly payroll. But over here it says plus EIDL. So since the government SBA is a little backlogged and overwhelmed with the EIDL loans, they have revised this form and added this times 2.5 plus the EIDL, which means if you have applied for a government loan, the disaster loan directly with the government. I haven't seen a lot of these come in yet with the EIDL in, but I've had a lot of questions of what the times 2.5 plus this means. So all that means is if you have applied for the economic injury disaster loan directly with SBA, we want to know how much you applied for. Number of employees is very important because even when you write your number of employees, the supporting documents that we look for, we will go back and verify and check. One of the biggest, not hurdles, but one of the biggest things that we come across when calculating is some of these bigger company submissions have 100,000 plus salaries for certain employees, and with the PPP program, we do cap it at 100,000. So the number of employees is important. One of the larger submissions we'll see, and then we will have to go back and double check to make sure, that nobody in the loan amount was calculated of over 100,000. And that spreadsheet will help calculate that and cap at 100,000 as well too. So the spreadsheet is very helpful and useful. Number of employees is important, and then the purpose of loan. As we said before, to have this loan forgiven after 2.5 months, you can use this loan for payroll, lease, mortgage interest, utilities, and other you have to explain. But those are the main 4 to get your debt forgiven. The government the banks that are applying with these loans for the PPP loan, they will ask for this information probably a month in after approval and funding. And utility documents, rent things, and most importantly, when that time comes, they would want to see if you had received the loan and you had kept and rehired all the employees on payroll from that time when receiving the loan. Like I said before, there's a lot of these yes or no questions and initial questions as you go along the line that need to be answered and think. We've had quite a few that missed an initial here and there that we do need. Another important thing is when applying for these loans is that we are requesting anybody with 20% more ownership. So over here in the owner's name, when we're asking for list all 20% owners, if there's anybody over 20%, we do want them to initial and sign wherever applicable. So for example, one entity for 5 owners, all 20%, we do want every single 5 of them to either submit their own application, just to attach it to show the certification, or just print out and initial and sign everywhere that's applicable. NICA code, zip code 4. Entity documents wise, entity documents, if let's say you bank with Bank of America, but Bank of America cannot take any more applications, and you go to your community lender in the area, what they will look for to take on your application is to verify you. So they will, like us, for some referrals, we do require entity documents with each application. Not the full charade of documents like the statement information, articles of incorporation, all those. But no, we would just look for an EIN letter or page 1 of the tax return or a 940 to confirm the EIN number that's written on your application. When we need to know the ownership of each 20% or more owner must include driver's license, social security number, and ownership percentage. Let me pull this up. And ownership percentage. Just to verify everybody's. So we go there. And then when coming to the payroll, once applying for the average monthly payroll and you get the loan amount, to verify that, and this goes back into the number of employees, what we're looking for is an IRS form 940. We would like that if you have been in business for over a year, over 2 years. We're looking for an IRS form 940 for 2019. The IRS form 940 will tell us total amount paid to the employers. So you can calculate it that way as well too. Or sometimes we will just look at that 940 number and divide by 12 after we determine that nobody is there ineligible, making over 100,000. So the IRS form 940 will be very important when submitting an application. Or right now for the CARES program, ADP, Insperity, and all these third-party processing companies are all running a CARES Act special, where you can simply just go on to the ADP or Insperity and download the report. And those reports are already custom-made, and it caps all employee benefits and salaries at 100,000. So if you are able to get those reports from the third parties and attach them to the application, that should be sufficient, as those reports are already ready-made for this program. IRS Form 940, and talked about that. And then also what we're looking for is a payroll summary report as of February 15, 2020 with the number of employees. If the payroll summary report is not available, then we are obtaining employee pay stubs as of February 15, 2020. So this January 1st, 2020 to February 15, 2020 payroll summary journal, that just shows us that all these employees were in fact employees up until February 15th. And it also lists the number of employees. We do like that as supporting documents. The list of total compensation by employee for 2019, we touched about that as well. When filling out the 2019 employee compensation report, no names or confidential information. Again, this is to determine if any individual's compensation is over 100,000. I'll touch briefly on it. So I think a lot of confusion as well too is everybody's been hearing 1099s. Are 1099s allowed to be calculated into the monthly average payroll? As of yesterday, the SBA had come out and said no 1099s will be allowed to be calculated into your monthly average payroll. So inshallah, 1099, the SBA will have their own 1099 program that's supposed to be rolling out by Friday, and that's to be determined. So a lot of hit back of some banks are taking 1099s, some are not. But as of yesterday, the SBA said no 1099s to be calculated. These are the items that we are looking for, and with this checklist and everything is available on our website. We have our own COVID-19 resources page, which would have the application, which would have this information sheet and the checklist, along with the calculation. So please go ahead and visit our website too at wallisbank.com, and it'll redirect you to all this information as well too. I think that should be it for right now, Brother Nasser.
All right, excellent. Thank you so much. Jazakallah khair, barakallah feek. This was very, very informative. Hopefully a lot of people got out of this. So we'll go ahead and switch now to the question and answers. We have about 15 of them, and I've seen also some that showed up on the chat. So inshallah, we will go through both of them. And I will ask the question, and then Brother Hani or Brother Farhan, either of you can answer if you feel comfortable with it. So for the first one, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alaikum salam. I have a seasonal business, and my company will most definitely be hurt through the crisis. However, I don't have any employees. It's just me. It's just me. Is my company still eligible for any SBA stimulus package? And that was for Brother Hani, actually.
Okay, Brother Nasser. Yes, thank you, Jazakallah khair. And yes, and you know what, Brother Farhan can share with you the spreadsheet that he had posted on the actual webinar that shared with us. So yes, there is a way. There is basically in the spreadsheet for the PPP. They also calculate if you have and you have it here. Brother Farhan is sharing with you. So this you should get access to this spreadsheet. We can email it to you, inshallah, if you maybe just post your email address. And everything here is recorded too. If you want to get the webinar, the recorded webinar too, just post your email, inshallah, and we'll make sure you get a recorded copy of this webinar as well. A recorded version email. So your question is basically, yes, you can benefit from the stimulus package. And this is the formula, the spreadsheet, how you want to kind of calculate your 2019. But you're saying that you don't have any employees, so you can still apply. I mean, as a sole proprietor, basically with whatever money you have already made last year. So the answer is yes.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much. Another question also for Brother Hani. This is from Dr. Amra Al-Banna, saying, can you use PPP and EIDL together?
Yes, absolutely. You can apply for both, but you have to be cautious and you have to make sure that you're not claiming, for example, the same on both loans. And as Brother Farhan mentioned, there's in the PPP, there's information where you have to also state if you have applied for the EIDL, how much is the balance on that. So make sure that when you're, for example, I'm going to give you an example. So you cannot basically use both of the loans for your payroll and say that you have already used both as a payroll expense for both the PPP and EIDL. So just make sure that you're tracking your expenses and making sure that if you have stated that the payroll expense is on the PPP to get it forgiven, that you're not trying to do the same thing with the EIDL. And make sure that you also mention in the PPP application, Brother Farhan shared it with us, mention that you're already applying for the EIDL.
All right, excellent. Another question from Brother Sean. He's saying, how can I benefit if I have 3 employees who are not on the payroll and 2 employees are overseas to support the business in the US? He said, yeah, how can I benefit if I have 3 employees here who are not on the payroll and 2 employees overseas to support the business? I'm not sure he's saying not on the payroll or they are on the payroll. I don't know.
I think he's saying that we're not on a payroll, so they're not on the payroll. So you know what? Let me give you the intent. The intent of this stimulus package is really focusing on how many, basically keeping employees, keeping their jobs, keeping people employed. So it's going to be really. I don't think you're going to be able to mention the employees that are overseas. As far as the 3 employees that they're not on payroll, I think you can go ahead and basically claim as a sole proprietor, maybe, and Farhan can assist with that because he's already got few cases approved on the PPP, but mainly you can provide your 2019 what you have paid for yourself and use that to apply for both the PPP and EIDL. You should definitely apply for the 10,000, that's for sure.
Okay. All right. Another question from Dr. Amr. Can I include the contractor 1099 costs that I pay to my contractors as payroll? And maybe this is for Farhan. You guys can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Brother Farhan, I don't know if you can answer that question. Can you include the contractor 1099 cost that I pay to my contractors as payroll? Brother Farhan, you're still on mute. I don't know, Hani, if you can answer this.
Yeah, no, I can. So as brother,
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry. So to answer that question, 2 days ago, that would have been eligible. So when the program came out up until yesterday, we were including 1099s that were issued to individuals to be allowed to be calculated in your average monthly payroll. Yesterday, unfortunately, they came out with another release and update to the program saying that we cannot calculate 1099s into average monthly payroll. But on the good news is that the SBA does plan out to roll out a program for 1099s, hopefully, inshallah, by Friday. So once we get a little bit more information, I will be happy to pass that information along to Brother Hani and Brother Nasser and for the whole, chamber. So, but to answer your question for right now, no, unfortunately, no.
Okay. All right. A question from Brother Zulfikar. He says, when applying for the PPP loan, is credit history required for a nonprofit to be approved? And maybe Brother Hani, I don't know if you can answer that.
So the nice thing about this, Brother Nasser, that the nice thing about these programs, the Paycheck Protection Program, is that it does not even ask for a personal guarantee, which is unbelievable, right? So they're not asking for credit history. They're not even asking for a personal guarantee. So I've never really seen this, I would say no to this. They're not going to require a credit history because there is a disaster going on. Brother Farhan, you can add if you like to my answer. More of the second part of it, since you've been already processing some of those loans.
No, you're absolutely right, Brother Hani. There's no guarantees on these PPP loans. So, what I guess for a 501c, a nonprofit, we would like to just see the manager information of who actually, runs that. But credit history for 501cs, no, sir, and no credit histories. No credit histories in general, even not for nonprofit. I think the only thing that they're really checking for, and we will find out, is I think one of the questions on the certification says if you have ever been default or delinquent on an SBA loan. So that's really the only thing that I've checked. If anybody has ever defaulted or been delinquent on an SBA loan, I believe I'm going to share that screen on the certification. We have a certification on it. Let me just see if I can pull it up. So right here, question number 2. Has the applicant, any owner of the applicant, or any business owned or controlled by any of them ever obtained a direct loan guaranteed that is currently delinquent or defaulted in the last 7 years and caused a loss to the government? That's essentially the biggest question on credit that they ask for. But other than that, there's no guarantee. Everybody should be eligible.
Okay, excellent. It says, please also define employee in terms of the PPP loan and accounting for employees' headcount. Does the SBA define just employees as those the organization payroll taxes, or does it include independent contractors? I guess it's a 1099 question, I guess.
So the payroll taxes you can include in your calculation. You can include the payroll taxes in your calculation, and in 1099 you cannot include in your calculation. But payroll taxes and 401k you can include in your calculations. So.
Okay. All right. Another question. I have started my own nonprofit since a year, but didn't yet get the grant, but only $5,000 donation, and was working on other grants. But as I didn't get paid as an executive director, can I apply for the loan programs?
Brother Hani, I would, off the top of my head, I don't know about that. It doesn't hurt in applying, just because that seems to be, easy, open, shut, but it wouldn't hurt in applying, but it would have to be, You would just have to provide a bunch of supporting documents to justify, your ask.
Yes. You should absolutely apply for the EIDL to get the 1,000 grant. That's what you should shoot for, and try to apply as soon as possible for this. The details in this question, if you can send me an email, what I can do is research that for you, and maybe Brother Farhan and I can just do more digging and just get back to you on it.
Yeah, it was an anonymous attendee, so I don't know who asked that question, but whoever asked that question, if maybe they can provide their email, then we can provide it to Brother Hani as well.
And I can list my email. I'm not able to do it on the chat box, but I can maybe provide my email. So if anybody wants to send me an email,
Okay.
we can.
All right. Another follow-up question from Sister Shireen. If I don't take any salary, am I considered an employee, or would it list as 0 employees?
Yeah. So for purposes of the loan, if you're not taking salary, basically with the PPP, they're looking for the average payroll for 2019. So that's an issue with them, because it's not going to show. They're not going to be able to show the salary. Or it's not going to be part of the payroll. And are you saying that you have 0 employees?
Yeah.
Okay, so now I need to get more information on that. Is it an S corporation? Is it an LLC? Is it a sole proprietor? Because that all depends on the entity structure that you have. So that's another thing. If you can type your answer here, or if you want to reach out to us, and inshallah, that's another thing that we can respond back. Inshallah.
Yeah. And Sister Shireen, you can actually add it in the chat. You can answer some of this information. It's fine. The next question is from Brother Muhammad. Can you guys share the Excel calculation sheet? I guess we. This is Brother Farhan. You had the Excel spreadsheet. Are you able to, I guess, share that, or do they have to come to the bank or to apply to actually get that Excel spreadsheet?
No. Can you hear me, brother? Yes.
Yeah,
so we can. Let me just see if I can share it right now. Let me just see. So. Can you see the screen? So if you go to wallisbank.com, so if you could just go to wallisbank.com, I'm just right on the first page, we have a COVID resources page. And once you go down, it'll give you a brief synopsis of what we just all talked about. And over here, you're able to download directly an application form, the supplemental certification form regarding employees, agent certification, and then right here is the calculator. So you can download the calculator. Please help yourself to all these tools that we have on our website.
All right, excellent. Thank you so much. I want to take a moment here and welcome Sheikh Mustafa Omar. Welcome, Sheikh Mustafa. Very happy to see you. I'm glad, alhamdulillah, you're doing well, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect you, inshallah.
Ameen. You as well.
All right, so we will continue with our questioning. Let's see. Brother Ajaz says, Assalamu alaikum, wa alaikum salam. We submitted an EIDL application, but it only had a few questions. We took about 5 minutes to complete, and we got the application number. We were not asked for any of the info that you mentioned, except the last 12 months gross revenue. Are we done? And just wait for the response now. I guess he's saying that they didn't go into too much details. Does that qualify for being done?
Well, the good news is that if you got a confirmation number, that's a good start. So if they've only asked for one piece of document, that's good. They'll probably just review of what you submitted when they get a chance, and then they will eventually either say you're good to go, or they will ask and request additional information. But rest assured that you have a confirmation number. That means that you got your application through, which is very good. So you just have to wait for them to get back to you.
All right, excellent. Thank you. Another question: if I'm not owner in another company but a CEO, do I list it?
I'm going to assume that question means he has no ownership percentage.
Yeah.
No, So no, if he's a CEO, he's fine. If he does have any 20% or more ownership, then he would have to write it down. But if he's just strictly a CEO, he should be okay. He does not have to list that affiliate.
Okay. All right. How do I sign up for the federal unemployment? I've already applied and got approved for California. We didn't talk about
Brother
that.
Hani.
Yeah. So, Brother Hanan, I think you have my information, and that's a whole different topic. But I do have associates that are handling this issue, so I would be more than happy. I think you have my email address, so I'd be more than happy to send you information.
Okay. Brother Zulfikar mentions, can 2018 Form 940 be used if nonprofit organization hasn't filed the 2019 returns?
That's a great question. That's a very good question. I haven't come across that yet. If that's the case, I would still ask for another updated compensation report, maybe a full list of documents, a full list of employees and wages supporting those 2018 numbers. If it were for me, I would request a little bit more information. I've had just not for nonprofit, but just for even for-profit businesses, try to provide 2018 numbers and say the same thing, but I haven't been accepting those. But for nonprofits, a little bit different case, since for right now, these are eligible. I would, on top of the 2018 940, I would attach more additional information of 2019 and 2 months 2020, just to be on the safe side.
Okay. Follow-up questions is, we have let some of our employees go about 2 weeks ago. Should we hire them back and include them in the PPP program?
So the beauty of this program is that the government is understanding of the crisis going on and all the employees being let go just due to everything. So the one of the reasons why that, not only for the 2019 940 I request that payroll summary journal from January 1st, 2020 to February 15th, 2020, is to show that those employees are still employees. So if you're letting employees go just 2 weeks ago, you should be more than okay. You just have to show when the time comes, when asking for forgiveness for this loan, that these employees were hired back. But you should be okay just because they would be on your payroll journal through the end of February anyway.
Okay. I started my bookkeeping and tax business in October 2019. So do I qualify for the SBA? And I don't have any employees.
I have one employee.
I don't have any. Yeah, no employees.
He has no employees.
Yeah.
I would suggest then for that specific case to go ahead and apply directly with the SBA and just get that grant for the economic disaster injury loan. So get that grant. I wouldn't think that would be eligible for PPP, but I think you can make a case for the EIDL loan directly with the SBA.
Okay. If contractors are not covered under the PPP, can you use the EIDL 10K for the contractor 1099?
Just for right now, just as of yesterday, again, the 1099s are not allowed anymore to be calculated in the payroll program. The SBA will be rolling out a new program, inshallah, on Friday for 1099s.
But can you include them in the EIDE program? I think that's what he's saying, or maybe.
On the EIDL. On the EIDL, I think you can. I would go ahead and try. Absolutely.
Try to get the 10K as soon as possible.
Yeah, Brother Hani, I mean, that's the great thing to stress on, for the small businesses. Everybody's still getting a little bit more details on the PPP program, but you're absolutely right. You should please go apply for the EIDL and get that $10,000 grant.
And even if you reject the loan afterwards, but at least you can take advantage of the 10,000 grant.
Absolutely.
All right. Brother Alim says, Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum salam, Brother Alim. I'm a one-man show. I like that. and commission based and work from home. So what can I deduct beside my home mortgage? What about utilities, car expenses, others? And, can we average my income?
That's a little bit more intricate. One employee, no, I mean, you can't deduct any of those things. You would just have to try to make a case to show some kind of salary or income when applying for the PPP loan. Again, I think this is another good case to apply directly for the EIDL and get the $10,000 grant.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum. This is an anonymous attendee. Alaikum salam. Message donations are way down since they are closed. should not all of our mosque and Islamic centers be applying for the PPP? Can your organization or maybe the Shura Council try to encourage and facilitate that? So he's basically asking about nonprofit organizations. And I'm assuming that they can.
Brother Hani. I'm sorry. Let me, Brother Nasser, one more time for the question, please. I'm sorry.
So the question is that for the mosques, since all of the income is kind of down because of nobody's attending, can they apply for any of these programs?
Absolutely. So you can apply. The mosque can apply with the PPP program even when there. So again, the payroll summary journal up until February 15th. If you had, if employees were on staff up until that point, and the donations, everything are down, you can absolutely still apply as long as you have the documents ready when it comes time to forgive that these employees were hired back.
All right, very good. Yeah, and as far as the second part of the question, the Chamber of Commerce, the Muslim Chamber of Commerce, is basically trying to promote by holding these things, and we do work closely with the Shura Council and everybody. So, and if hopefully you'll become part of the membership as well if you have your own business. Another question: any idea how does this work for real estate companies? Are they eligible for EIDL?
No, they are EIDL. No, they're not. Both of them, they're not. So the real estate companies are considered passive companies where all they do is just hold real estate. There shouldn't be any income there as well anyway. So for PPP program and EIDL, I believe they're both ineligible. Let me pull this up.
Okay.
Here, Brother Nasser, I actually have a, let me see.
Yeah, if you want to share
pull up. Yeah, I have a list up of ineligible businesses. Please disregard A because for the time being they are eligible, which is non-profit. Let me see. So please disregard A because they are eligible right now. So these are the list of ineligible businesses for PPP and EIDL.
So here, number C is passive business. Is that the ones?
Yes, so passive businesses, exactly, landlords and real estate holding companies. Send this too.
Okay, sounds good. All right, Sister Hannah is asking, I have filled an extension for my 2019 tax return. Can I apply for the PPP based on the 2018 tax return?
You can try. I know my bank won't take that. So my bank won't. If you have an extension, I would say is, again, if you have ADP or any third-party company, to simply just pull the reports for 2019, and we can use that.
Profit and loss statement.
Okay.
Or even, I just want to stress the fact, I mean, if you can do like whatever it takes to basically also make it happen and get the 2019 to be able to take advantage, because I mean, these loans are like I said, best. I mean, they're first. I mean, they're gonna be, whoever applies first is gonna be getting those before. So it's important to kind of apply as soon as possible.
Okay. Brother Tariq says, Assalamu alaikum. Alaikum salam. Do you have to apply for the stimulus? I guess you don't have. I don't know. You guys answer me.
Yes, you do have to apply for both programs, the PPP and EIDL. And I shared with you, Brother Nasser, the link for the EIDL. I'm not able, for some reason, to post on the chat box.
Yeah, we see it. You sent. Oh, okay. You sent it privately to me. Okay. Here, I'll send it to everybody. I'm going to send it to everybody here so everybody can see it. If you guys look at the chat, you should be able to see where you can apply for the EIDL. Okay. Brother Patel says, can any loan money be used for business lease payments, and does it need to be pay back with interest?
So this whole program is for payroll protection. So the loan amount is calculated on your average monthly payroll, and then times 2.5. It was essentially for 2 months of payroll activity, but the half 0.5% that they have given is for the businesses to use that additional funds on utilities, on rent, on interest for mortgages. So that's what it's there for. If you do use it on other items that aren't listed in this application, it'll say on the application right here of what you're using it for, purpose of loan. If you have other uses of funds that you're using the loans for, that portion of that loan, you have to remember that will not be forgiven unless used for these 3 items.
Okay. Let's see. Can you please share the spreadsheet and webinar? Okay. I'm assuming that the administration will share this information. Brother Muhammad Sharif, salam alaikum wa alaikum salam. I have a company established 6 months ago. I filled the taxes for 2019. Still work from home. No employees yet. Can I apply for EIDL and PPP? No employees.
Yes to both, but probably recommend for EIDL.
Okay. Brother Shaukat says, are Uber drivers eligible, or someone started in November 2019? Is he eligible?
Brother Hani?
Now, I need more actually on that, because are you structured, I mean, as employed, are you, most likely just just working for Uber? So if you could please, I posted my email address. You can send me that question with more information, and inshallah we'll get it answered for you.
Okay. Sister Nima says, so with these limitations to 1099 and yet first come first serve, should we not wait and apply tonight anyway?
In my opinion, I think we'll apply for the EIDL for the 10,000 grant and see what happens, and we'll take it from there. But Brother Farhan, I'm sure you have more information on that.
No, I agree. I would just wait, but I would wait on the PPP, but I would go ahead and apply and see exactly what happens with the EIDL,
Okay, very good. Brother Salim Jibani. Whoa, Salim Jibani is in the house. Wonderful. Hopefully that brought a smile to you, Mr. Salim. Do I need to have my 2019 taxes filed? He has an LLC, sole proprietorship, before applying for the PPPL or the EIDL or EIDL?
Again, it was a question to have the 2019 filed, or you have the return in hand?
Yeah, he said, do I need to have my 2019 taxes filed before applying for this, for the PPP?
Not necessarily. Again, we've been looking at the IRS Form 940, but again, we have come across a lot of applicants who haven't filed yet. But again, those third-party reports that show all the information we need for 2019 with the payroll, your payroll processing company, and however you do your payroll, if you're able to provide proper supporting documents for 2019, if you haven't filed your taxes, that's fine too.
And
okay.
Brother Salim, since you put a smile on Muhammad Nasser's face, inshallah, you owe it to him. You can send us an email. I have our CPA tax lawyers, inshallah, we can answer that question as well.
All right. Brother Shaukat asks, I have 2 corporations, separate business accounts. I applied through Bank of America website because I have an account with B of A. Used the same email address, but got only one link. Can I upload both corporation documentation to the same link?
I have 2 corporate separate bank accounts. Yeah, yes, you can. As long as there's 2 different entities that you're going to be looking at.
Yeah, they have. He has 2 separate.
Two different EIN numbers. You should be okay with one applicant. But again, all goes back into the ownership percentage. So let's say for one of the entities, they apply under the one same email address. That's fine. But then again, one of the questions will say provide an addendum and list out any affiliate ownership of 20% or more. And what they're going to look for is employee count. So as long as you're under the total full employees of 500, you should be okay. But applying with one email for 2 entities, that should be okay as well.
Okay, Brother Abdul Majid. If yes, who should we go to apply this, or should we do it ourselves? I don't know what he's asking here.
So for EIDL, you have to apply yourself directly with the SBA. For PPP, you're gonna have to find a local. You're gonna have to find the local bank, community bank, or one of the any other bank to see in your area to see if they're accepting applications for the PPP, which they should be. And you're going to have to apply everything yourself. So even with some of the, for instance, if for the loan amount, I want to see a calculation, even though I have supporting documents, you know, your 940s and your payroll summary journals and everything's good to go. I still want to see that calculation of how you got to that number, because as of right now, we're not going to be able to help to calculate for you. So we are looking for a little bit of effort.
Okay. Brother Wazid says, I have one employee for a long time and I hired another one on February 2020. Can I claim PPP for both employees?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Sister Amina says, I acquired two businesses that are 30 plus years old. However, I own one of them since August of last year and one since mid-January this year. How do I calculate the average employee? Am I required to gather historic employees information from previous owner?
No, you don't gather your information from the previous owner. You start whenever you purchase that said business. So if, let's say for one of the businesses from August that you acquired, you're going to have to calculate from February. You can calculate from February back to August your monthly average payroll.
Oh, this is just an addendum from Sister Shireen. She's asking, she's saying that it's an LE that she's got, and she has utilities and rent, but no employees. I think.
I really apologize, Sister Shireen. I really forgot that because we're getting a lot of questions. I forgot the actual first question. So if you can just send me an email, I shared my, so you can just reach out to me, inshallah, and we'll look into it.
Okay, Sister Majabeen, assalamu alaikum, wa alaikum salam. I have a question regarding the PPP loans. What are the requirements for returning to previous employment levels? Does that mean I'm hiring all the same employees, or can I hire new people? I guess it's keeping with the same level. Do I need to have the same number of employees? Does that mean that I can give more to a portion of my employees who are willing to continue working? Also, what is the time frame to return back the previous employment levels?
To answer the first question, the SBA is going to encourage you to hire back those same employees after receiving funds. They would want those employees that were let go to be hired back. Truthfully, I think that's what the government's looking for. Do I need to have the same number of employees? Yes, if you want your debt forgiven. Does that mean I can give more hours to portion my employees? I mean, I'd get back to you on that last question. The second and last question, it's a little open-ended. But again, I'm just harp on the government. If you let go employees and you obtain a loan, they would want to see you hire back the let go employees. Also, what is the time frame to return back to the previous employment? You're gonna when it comes time to ask for forgiveness. So usually, probably within the first 2 months, you're gonna have to provide supporting documents to show that you've achieved the same number of employees that you had applied for originally.
And then you have to balance everything too as well. Does it make more sense to, depending on your payroll amount, does it make more sense to hire more employees, to take that loan, or is it, I mean, you just have to kind of balance everything as well.
Okay. How do I apply for unemployment if I'm a 1099 contractor?
Yes, I posted my email address actually, and I have an associate that handles these questions. So inshallah, if you reach out to me, I can connect you with our associate lawyer that will be able to answer that question, inshallah.
Okay, excellent. Brothers, of course, as a follow-up, the 2019 W-2s be used to calculate the average payroll cost if our 2019 taxes haven't been filed.
Sure. I mean, but that's a lot of Yeah, you could. You could. I'd still encourage to get, whoever processes your payroll, get those reports. But yeah, I guess you can.
And your payroll company should have that information easily, so they should be able to email you that.
Correct.
Yeah, excellent. And this is another good question here from Sister Amina. If my small business ends up being in a situation where it needs to file Chapter 11 bankruptcy, what happens to the SBA loan?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
Sister Amina, I really will be able to answer this question if you email me. We have our CPA bankruptcy lawyer that could easily answer that. And we'll just respond back to you. If you could just please email it to us.
Yeah.
Brother Shaukat says, the EI just 10,000 or is it more?
It's more. The 10,000 Brother Hani and I are referring to is a $10,000 grant right off the bat. But you can apply up to, I believe it's $2 million for an EIDL loan. And yeah, but the only thing is that whatever you apply for on the EIDL is not forgiven by the government. I think the max rate on those as well is 3.75%. And for nonprofits, I believe it's 2.75%.
Yes.
Okay. Sister Hannah says, can you apply for a PPP with multiple lenders in case one doesn't go through, or technically should it be applied through one lender only?
Preferably only one lender, but I do understand how other lenders are also swamped. I mean, we'll know. I mean, the government will know if somebody applies for. If one bank's able to process faster than the other, I mean, there's no hurt in that. But it should be one lender. But I do understand, everybody trying to get their applications in as well too.
Okay. Brother Amr El-Banna says, can you apply to any bank or is it just your bank?
You can apply to any bank.
I like that one. All right. Brother Muhammad Razak says, are you guys doing loans for non-customers?
We do loans. We do these loans for non-customers, but I think too we are filling up with applications as well too. But yes, Wallis Bank has been doing these PPP loans to referrals and non-customers as well too.
Okay. A follow-up question here concerning the passive real estate companies. He's saying, I was talking about real estate broker companies, example, Caldwell Banker, Keller Williams, etc.
I haven't seen any of those examples come in, but Brother Hani, if you can chime in on this as well too. But I haven't seen it on those, but usually those companies aren't eligible. Usually aren't eligible for SBA anyway. So, but I haven't come across any of those yet either. Let me pull up the list to see if there's any additional information on there. But
Brother Munir, if you could please just send me an email, and I promise you we'll research it. I was on a call today with a CPA tax lawyer as well, and I remember they spoke briefly on this, so I can go back to it and reach out to my resources, inshallah. Obviously, we don't know everything in this call, but inshallah, we'll promise you that we will do whatever it takes to kind of get back to you, inshallah. So if you just send me an email, we'll respond back, inshallah.
Okay, wonderful. We are 7 minutes away from ending, and we have 9 questions. So go quickly. 1 minute and answer now. It's the fast round. All right. Salams, alaikum salam, Brother Farhan. Thank you for the information. As a nonprofit masjid with no ownership, how do we input the information on the PPP?
So that's a great question. So even where it says there, I'll just look for a manager, whoever's a manager there for ownership percentage. They've made some adjustments on the systems for these loans, so that should be okay as long as there's a manager there. That should be okay.
Okay, this is the Brother Farhan. It says Wallis Bank website says is no longer accepting applications for the PPP program.
That must have happened live on the webinar. I didn't get a chance to see I'll look into that as well too.
We just killed your website, Farhan.
No. But this is just to help give knowledge to all the brothers and sisters as well too in general.
All right, good. See, there is value for the Chamber of Commerce. Look at that. We're moving and shaking here. Okay, Brother Shaukat says they need to find the SBA lender bank. Just comments. I'm not sure what that is. They need to find SBA lender. I guess maybe finding. Yeah, probably.
You need to find your own. You need to find your SBA approved lender.
Okay. Sister Hannah says, I have a business relations with Wells Fargo. Stopped taking applications for the PPP as of last Sunday. Can I still apply using another lender? If so, how can I get their info? I guess Wallis Bank was as of right now.
We will. I'll look into that as well too. I'm still at the office. I'll see if when did that change. But yeah, I guess some of the big ones like Wells Fargo and Bank of America, I guess they've reached their threshold pretty early on. But yeah, there are other community banks and SBA approved lenders that are still lending. I will get with Brother Hani and send them a list of SBA approved lenders in the Orange County area when we're done with the call.
Brother, Farhan, inshallah, your branch just opened in Cerritos too last month. I was there, and inshallah, that's great that you're also local.
Yeah.
Thank you.
How soon can you ask for the forgiveness?
2 months.
2 months. Okay, great. Dr. Amri says, do you have to prove chip for your business?
I don't think under the circumstances, I don't think you have to prove anything.
Yeah, the hardship is already on our heads. Yeah.
But I'm sorry, Brother Farhan, if you want to give but I'm just saying under circumstances, I'm sure everybody has been affected. I mean, you know.
Yeah. So even when applying for the PPP program, you know, once you get the loan, it's 6 months deferred right away. But also, if you already have an existing SBA loan, and existing SBA loan in good standing, it's automatic 6-month deferment as well too. So SBA does have a lot of good programs and are definitely aware of the situation in crisis, not just for existing, but for new as well.
Excellent. Dr. Ahmed Azzam, mashallah. Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Ahmed. If I'm in the process of opening a new business or I'm planning to open a new business, can I apply for the PPP loan?
I think so. I think the program runs until the end of the year. But again, if you're opening up a business in the process of even around this time, your best bet to get funds right away would be directly with the SBA and the EIDL.
Okay. Sister Amina says, our business account is with a very large bank. They are very conservative. Should we look for a smaller bank that doesn't matter? Or it doesn't matter?
No, I don't think it really matters as long as you have those 5 pieces of information along with the application. It should be okay.
Okay. Are Uber drivers considered 1099?
I would have to say,
For my,
no, go ahead, Brother.
No, go ahead. I was going to defer to you too.
Yeah, really, to be honest with you, it all depends if, you know, I need to ask you a few questions and you know, so inshallah, if you just send me an email, we can get to the bottom of it.
Okay. I have an S corporation and using QuickBooks for accounting. I have all the financial information for 2018 and 2019, but did not file tax return for those 2 years. Can I apply for EIDL?
Yeah, yes, you can for the EIDL because EIDL, they only take financial statements, or they can take either or, tax returns or financial statements. For the EIDL, absolutely.
Okay. Wells Fargo just they're accepting applications, so okay, so they opened up again.
Yeah.
Pressure you now, Farhan.
Problem.
All right. As of right now, it's open. Okay, so I'm assuming that for Wallis as well. This is Brother Muhammad Razak mentioned. Brother Zulfiqar says, I learned there's a separate part of CARES Act as called 50% payroll credit, where 50% employees retention, a fully refundable credit to nonprofit for furloughs, etc. However, you mentioned that the PPL payroll costs can include payroll tax. Jazakallah khair. Do you know anything about this new program, 50% payroll tax credit?
Brother Zafar, this is more about this is more for the tax benefits that you also would be getting as part of the stimulus package. So inshallah, if you send me an email, I can get you a detailed answer on those benefits that you were talking about.
All right, and last but not least, and this is going to be a big one, Dr. Amr. You asked it right at the end, but we'll go for it. Is the 1% interest going to be halal? And I think Sheikh Mustafa is here. Maybe Sheikh Mustafa can help us with a quick answer on this.
So, the quick answer is
You're thinking, yeah.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's better. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, so the quick answer is that normally, yes, 1% would still be interest, but in this case, there's a loan forgiveness. So basically, these loans are being structured as grants with conditions that most people are probably going to fulfill. So the short answer is, as long as you can pretty much guarantee, you're pretty sure that the amount of money that you're going to be loaned is going to be, what you're paying back is less than the amount that you're loaned, based upon the forgiveness, then it's not going to count as interest functionally, because these loans were not intended to be loans. These are actually intended to be grants by the government in order to help people in the crisis. They're just being administered through banks because it's going to be quicker to get the money to people rather than going through some kind of grant organization. So functionally, it is not equivalent to interest. It's very similar to if you pay off your credit card every single month and you never incur any actual interest, then it's not interest.
All right, excellent. Thank you so much. That's a great answer. All right, mashallah, we had about almost 60 people attended. We had about 64 questions that were answered. I wanted to thank so much Brother Hani and Farhan and Sheikh Mustafa for joining us and sharing with us their wisdom. I hope this was beneficial for everybody. I encourage everybody who owns a business and is not already a member of the Muslim Chamber of Commerce, please go to our website and apply and be a part of this great organization. Hope Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala inshallah will relieve us soon from this great calamity. Again, thank you for your attendance. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر والسلام عليكم.